Hello, family, and welcome back to the podcast. I am More Than Enough, hosted by me, Elvis K. Thank you very much for making time to be here with me again. And if it's your first time, you are most welcome as well. So, in today's episode, I wanted to do a continuation of the conversation we've been having on sobriety and mental health. The last episode I did was in regards to surrender. So this next episode is a continuation of that, and it's going to be specifically about 12 steps. So jumping into it. So why 12 steps? So I wanted to explore 12 steps because 12 steps is honestly one of the absolute most transformational experiences that I've ever had. And I'm super jazzed and excited to talk about it because man, if it wasn't for doing the 12 steps and creating that rock firm foundation to say, man, I got to do something different because everything I'd done in the past had absolutely failed. This, oh man, was everything. It absolutely helped me build everything from here. I can say it was an absolute building block for my journey to sobriety. And without it, nothing that I've added on from that moment holds. Everything would have faltered. So that's why I'm super excited about it, because I know and I believe it's going to transform your life if you take it into account and say, man, enough is enough. And I'm not just saying it because it helped me. 12 steps. The particular one I was in was 12 Steps Alcoholics Anonymous. There's other ones. There's Overeaters Anonymous. There's Narcotics Anonymous. It's a program that's expanded so much. And I will get into that for a little bit. But just focusing on how it's helped me. But it's helped so many people, millions of people around the world. Some common faces and familiar faces you may know, be it Mary J. Blige, be it Samuel L. Jackson, be it Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., be it Brad Pitt. A lot of famous faces have gone through this program and continue to be members of this program and have attested at how it transformed their lives and helped them find that peace, that inner peace that we all seek just to experience life a little easier than we have been in the past. So I'm truly excited about it. I hope you take something from it. And if not, hopefully you can share with someone who these tools can help. But I gotta say, doing 12 steps was the absolute last thing I saw myself doing. So as excited as I am to share it, I gotta be honest, it took me forever to really do this program. I remember I hopped on in a couple meetings from time to time, and I would go in like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I sit down, and I just feel so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm getting out of my skin, just because there's so much stigma to alcoholism. Growing up, seeing people who'd get drunk, people who couldn't control their substance, consuming alcohol, just made me judge those people. I was this squeaky clean kid. So for me, it just seemed so, how can I be with these people? I'm for sure better than them. And when I would hear people open up their hearts and share some of the deepest pains that they've been through to get to here, instead of looking at mine, I would judge them. I'd say, oh my God, I'm not like these people. I'm not this broken. I'm not, I just didn't see myself belonging there. And just that shame, that culture thing that we have that lets us judge other people instead of even looking at ourselves internally, just made it impossible. So I went, and it wasn't just in 1 year. I think I've gone throughout, I don't remember how many times, but at least 2 to 3 times I tried it. So whatever I'm going to share today may not be easy to hear, but I will be honest with you that I struggled to get to it too as well, to get to the 12 steps, even though I'd seen as many people as it helped. And even though I kept judging the people that it helped, to be like, man, look at that person thinking they're better than me. You're sober for this amount of time. It just didn't resonate with me. So it took so much courage and honestly getting to rock bottom to say, man, I got to do something different. I got to do something different because this thing ain't working. And honestly, too, being that I've been sober for 6 months straight, which was, I'd done it longer before, but this time I felt it truly that I had hit rock bottom. I didn't know what that word was. And I knew for sure that I'm going to stop drinking. I knew it in my heart. But the reason I decided to say, man, let me jump into 12 steps. Let me see what it's about. Because I realized that I kept saying to myself, okay, the pandemic is over. Okay, what if I go for a vacation in Mexico or somewhere and I'm by the beach? Am I going to drink? Like, I'm just going to drink a bit. I should be fine by then. So my, those things kept lingering in my mind. It's as though my ego was trying to dance to me like, hey, come on, man. Yes, you got it. Great. Congrats. But how about when this happens? How about when this happens? So I just kept feeling a bit powerless, saying, man, maybe I'm not as strong, or maybe I'm not as convinced that I've really, really done the work. Maybe there's a next step that I need to do. And it was very, very, very clear that doing this was the absolute next step. And luckily for me, one of my brothers, one of my friends had done it for 10 plus years at that point. And I was super, super inspired. And at this moment as well, I was able to empathize with him because I'd taken time to kind of reflect and realize that, man, I cannot keep drinking this way. I cannot keep abusing myself this way. I cannot keep hating myself this way. So reaching out to him honestly was something so transformational because I had the courage and fear at the same time to say, well, let me reach out to this guy because maybe he can help me because I've sat in the classes. It just didn't resonate. I was too embarrassed and too scared. But at least in him, I could, hopefully kick off this journey. So I'm hoping what I'm going to share today will touch you, will sink in, will plant that seed to give you the courage to say, man, maybe this is something that could work for me. Because it's hard every day when I reflect and look back to the person that I am right now. I can absolutely credit 12 steps to having been a huge step in building that for me to say, man, I started on that first step, pun intended, of 12 steps, But I truly believe it's something that can transform and has great tools within it that you can hold on to that can absolutely transform your life. So let's get into it. So 12 Steps is a program that was started by Dr. Bob Smith, a physician, and Bill Wilson, a stockbroker, in Akron, Ohio in 1935. So this is a program that's been around for a very, very long time. And the reason they started it is because they felt and had been experiencing struggles with alcoholism and found no solution. And as you can tell, these are both doctors. So this struggle does not spare anyone. Alcoholism, addiction, depression does not spare any human being. We all experience it in one form or another. So figuring out there's no program, they figured, man, we got to do something. So that's how they started it, and slowly built up as it helped people, because at that time there's no real place you can go to find somebody who can help you with alcoholism. It just seemed something shameful, something you got to hide from, and just viewed people who had struggled as failures. So it was something quite brave of them, And from there, it just expanded. It expanded from Alcoholics Anonymous, which is the one I was a part of. There's Gamblings Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, 30 different forms of 12 steps. So 12 steps isn't just if you're struggling with substance abuse or alcoholism, but you can find the 12 steps for whatever struggles you're having. I think even emotional abuse or emotional support to help you deal with traumas as well. So quite a powerful program, and it's had a humongous impact. And can be found in every country at the moment. So the purpose of 12 Steps is to help create a structured path to help people who are struggling with sobriety to find a community, and also help with spiritual growth, because people who are going to these meetings or people who are seeking this type of help are people who've struggled with shame, people who have struggled with the stigma of failing and just feeling that sense of embarrassment. and creating a wholesome space to realize that some people can get to a point where they're just helpless and the tools or whatever they're trying to do in their lives just doesn't help. So it can create, it is an awesome safe space to really, really get this type of help. And the awesome thing about these meetings is they're not just in person as they used to be in the past, but now with access to the internet, you can access it via Zoom, the comfort of your own home, and just log in and even keep it anonymous. You don't have to even declare who you are if you're not trusting or not comfortable in jumping to that meeting. So it's quite a safe space and a place to really start your healing. So the other awesome thing about 12 steps is you can select a meeting that's comfortable for you, be it a meeting for men, be it a meeting for women. So it's whatever's comfortable for you. You don't have to just attend any meeting, as I mentioned earlier. So the great thing also about 12 steps is it creates a consistency in the practices and tools that you're given. So one of them is meetings. So the awesome thing about meetings is to help with accountability, to help with fellowship, to help with just creating a safe space to share. So having that place where you can go be accountable, creating that consistency, then creates new habits and a new routine that starts to remove you from the old habits that you're used to by knowing that there's a safe space you can go and share, meet like-minded people, and know that you're not the only person who suffered, but also just go there and just share. Because a lot of times what drowns us and what prevents us from healing is carrying this pain and this baggage that we carry around all day. But you can go there and be able to share whatever you want to share that day. And if you don't even want to speak, you can just go and attend and just gain some sort of insight to other people's experience, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So the other awesome thing about the 12 Steps program is not only are you provided a safe space and a community for people that can help you on your journey to sobriety, but you also have a partner, somebody we call a sponsor, somebody who can help you navigate the waters of 12 Steps, the program, and help you through the 12 Steps programs as soon as possible. Because when you are struggling with alcoholism or other narcotics or other substances, the goal is to get you within the 12 Steps program right away. And the 12 Steps program is quite, sometimes I think I just want to clarify, there's what's called the 12 Steps, which is just overall the program, which includes the meetings, which includes the reading from the big book that structures and helps you. There is the communion basically with everybody that you have there. But then again, there's what's called 12 steps. So first step is we admitted we are powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. And then came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to take care of God, to the care of God as we understood Him. So in all these three steps, you have your acceptance, you have your moment of surrender, as we covered in the previous episodes. And then step 4, meta searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So these are just the call to action, basically. Not just talk about it, not just surrender, but actually do the work. So this will require you to take this action, and this action is, to me, one of the most transformational aspects of it, because there's a lot of people that don't get to this part. Some people that just get stuck on step 3 but are not willing to go deep. And trust me, the healing is right here between step 4 and step 7. And then step 8, made a list of persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 8, sought throughout prayer and meditation to improve our consciousness, our conscious contact with God, as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And that's the maintenance, the part of it where you continuously doing the work to stay in that state, because it's going to take work. All right, so now that we've talked about 12 steps, how it works, etc., I just want to give my personal take on it and how it worked for me, because as I mentioned, it's absolutely the most transformational thing I've ever done in my life. As I reflect and as I've been just going through getting this episode ready, I've just been reflecting on how it really transformed me. And just by reaching out to a friend, it's getting out of myself and saying, yo, man, I've been sober for 6 months, but I want to know how you do this thing, man, because I'm not sure the way I've done it will stick, And he'd been sober for 10 years and was very gracious about it. And I'd never even spoken about sobriety to me, because he's learned, and being in the program, is you can't convince anyone to change or to stop a habit. That person has to want to change. And hopefully when they really, really want to change, you can help them through this. So to do the 12 steps, it's something you have to really, really want. As I mentioned, it took me a couple of times and a couple of tries, and it just didn't stick. So my experience was a bit different, even though there were different 12 steps meetings all over. I couldn't access them because this was during the pandemic. So I started working with him, and so we went through those 12 steps. And one of the requirements, besides going through the 12 steps, was to attend a meeting, I believe once a week or every day. I don't remember, but I had to attend meetings. And the meetings themselves are quite powerful, because you go in there like, oh my goodness, I am not alone. Because you're not coming from a place of judgment. You're coming from a place of, man, I want to know, what are you all doing? How can I get better? And everyone is just pouring their heart, and everyone is just kind and just vulnerable and open in ways which sometimes can be uncomfortable, but that's the courage of deciding to heal, is you decide to let go of that shame which you carry on, and judging yourself more than anyone can judge you, which is the honest truth, because you live with you. You judge yourself more than anyone. So it was just going to meetings was quite a powerful experience, and being able to share and saying these things out for the first time, admitting these things out loud. Oh my God, it was so, it was just so healing, because like you've been carrying, it's like you're carrying this poison and this pain for so long, but you finally get a chance to let it out. But the 12 steps themselves, I think from step 1 to step 3, I'd kind of done it by myself, but intentionally doing them was quite powerful. For me, the part that stuck out the most was doing the actual work, the actual inventory work, which is the work to go inside. Because remember, 12 steps focuses on you, not the other person. So you want to go inside, make an understanding to how you got here. And one of the steps was basically, write every wrong you've ever done from childhood. Write every single thing, as small as it is. You take days just doing that. You're just letting everything out, letting everything out, letting everything out. At least in the moment, you don't know that you're letting everything out. But it's quite therapeutic just writing everything, because you're working on getting rid of the guilt, the shame, just getting it out. And then you want to write every single person that's ever injured you. You want to write that list down. It basically go and experience, just uncover those pains. And then you want to write down every single person you've ever injured. Do that. Go all the way from your first memory. Do that. And the awesome thing about this exercise, it creates perspective. One is it creates accountability, because you're able to say, oh man, I'm not that perfect after all, 2, you see, oh man, I've caused injury to a lot of people, so there's that awakening. And then the next step after you've done all of that is then the toughest step, but the most courageous and most profound step is to make amends. So you reach out to people you've injured, you reach out to people you've hurt. Unless you know that reaching out to those people could cause further harm, and you realize that doing it is not, you're not doing it for that person, you're doing it for you, because when you ask for forgiveness from someone, or you are basically just doing that work, you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for that person, because there's no guarantee that person is going to forgive you. There's no guarantee this person will be as receptive as you may think, but you still do it anyways. And the goal is to get rid of that shame. The goal is to get rid of that guilt that you carry, to hopefully make peace within you, and hopefully make peace within that person. The goal is to hopefully make peace with that person. But what you learn from 12 steps is you cannot change what anybody else is going through, but make that effort to still make the amends, to reach out to any single person you've ever hurt, unless otherwise. And boy, does it take courage. And also, surprisingly, how forgiving and receptive people are. I honestly thought some of the people I was going to reach out to would be like, oh no, all of this. Because to me, I've magnified the problem way bigger than it is, not that it wasn't big, but just the grace and forgiveness you get from everybody you've hurt. Oh my goodness, it's quite powerful. And as you're doing all of this, you're learning to forgive yourself, because you're seeing how everything is tied together. You're seeing the fractures and what caused you to be there, be it insecurities, be it fears. My biggest one was just fears, And just seeing myself outside, I was like, yo, man, okay, so it takes so much work, but it's absolutely worth it. And then I remember getting to step 9. I think after finishing step 9, one of the requirements was to go sit in a room by myself for an hour. Because as you're going through all these steps, you are talking to your sponsor. So your sponsor is helping you through all these steps. So you're having contact with him almost every other day. Of course, depends what the exercise will require you to do, what availability will be like for your sponsor. But he's with you all along the way. So that moment, I sat down in that chair, just with nothing, no cell phones. I think it was just, there was a lit candle. You have a lit candle in there. And oh my goodness, I kid you not, time stopped. Like time stopped. I did not feel the sense of time. It felt like a psychedelic experience, like I'm just out of my body completely, like I'm just not even here. And it was just, I've never had that moment in my life where it's just quiet, total silence. Because for the first time, you've gone in your head, examined those voices, examined those fears, faced them head on, and then did something about it. And you're committing to now start taking care of yourself anew, something that I'd never, ever done. How could I have had this opportunity? So, it was just so freeing, just so, man, it was fantastic. And the reason why I keep emphasizing 12 steps, because for me, deciding to do the 12 steps, seeing them through, attending the meetings, working with my sponsor, I was able to finally cut that cord of ever wanting to drink again. Not that addiction goes away. You start to learn, maybe it's, of course, be just a personal trait. It could be something genetical, you name it. But I don't care to know about how I will be without alcohol, because I found that peace, I found that joy. And even in the troubling times, I have the tools to ground me and get me back, and to endure whatever the pain is, and not reject the pain, not run away from it, but sit with it and not be scared of it, and not be scared of it, just to say, man, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going through this tough time right now. Guess what? This too shall pass. Because that already passed. That when you're going through joyful moments, don't overindulge. I don't overindulge in those moments. I enjoy them. I cherish them, but I know they will pass. So I don't try to hold on to the highs or hold on to the lows. So it really opened me up. 12 steps helped me open me up. Go inside completely. Open me up. See myself anew and then remind myself anew and then start walking this new path. And knowing that, man, this is absolutely something new. And it does not mean that, if you do 12 steps, you won't have challenges, or you may not stumble, or you may not have a relapse, when you drink again, or you use again, or if you're having a problem with food, you overeat again, you name it. But the good thing is, that you can stand up again and you're not the only one, and there's no need to have the shame, and you're more grounded. You have it's like a tree that plants its roots very, very, very deep. It continues to survive because it continues to find that water. It's firm in there, as opposed to a tree that, say, may not have deep roots. The wind comes, it might throw it away. Different weathers, if there's so much irrigation or water erosion, that tree may not stand, but the tree with a deeper root will stand. So the goal is to just keep digging those roots, keep becoming stronger, and just keep persevering on. And knowing that, man, you know what? I'm not the only one. There's other people that have struggled like me. Guess what? I got this, and I don't have to do this by myself. I can do this one step at a time. So if today's conversation about 12 steps spoke to you, and you or someone you may know is struggling, all I'm encouraging you is just to take that small step. I know that 12 steps can for sure help you, and you don't have to do this alone. There's many meetings going on right now. I'm sure there's a meeting going on somewhere around the world. And knowing that it's not only accessible in person if you prefer that, but it's also accessible in the comfort of your own home. And did I forget to mention, it's free. There's no cost to joining a 12 Steps program through AA. If today's conversation of 12 steps spoke to you, then I want to encourage you to take one small action. If you or someone or a friend is struggling with alcohol, know that you do not have to do this alone. There are meetings happening everywhere. Locally, you can search one online and find something local, or just online. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. And even if alcohol is not your struggle, but just considering the principles that we talked about today on honesty, humility, amends, service, just ask yourself, where could these steps bring healing in my life today? And please, if you found value in this episode, something that could help you or help a friend, please like, subscribe, share, comment, just so other people can discover this show. And most importantly, remember this: healing is possible, and you are more than enough. Have a blessed one.